Hi, I'm Evan.
And I'm Mark.
This is the Something to Poo podcast.
On this week's episode, Evan and I start off by getting a little bit frustrated and angry with each other, but then it leads to him dropping some truth bombs on me.
Enjoy.
How you doing, man?
How am I doing? Good?
Yeah, it looks sunny where you are. It's deceivingly sunny outside because you look out the window and you're like, oh, it looks beautiful. And then I think it's actually just like cold as hell out there, isn't it?
I don't know. I went outside this morning with the dog. Since then, it's just been work.
Work. I love it. I love it. So you're good?
Things are good.
Excellent. I'm good as well.
Wow.
We're both good.
Wow. Okay, great. Welcome to the Something to Poo podcast, where we just say we're good.
Where we just say we're good. No, I was thinking about, okay, what do I want to talk to Evan about today? And it's funny because I always try to anticipate if I can get to the answer I think you're going to get to.
Okay.
And if we get to an answer, a reasonable answer within one or two steps, I go, nah, we can't really talk about that. Like you're just going to blast through it. You're going to destroy it. So I have to always try and find these things where I'm like, okay, well, what is the thing that could lead to like, but then you catch me off guard and I never know when you're going to jump on something. So major hedge. But here's
what we're talking about right now. We're still waiting for Mark to do something. What are we doing, Mark?
Here's what I want to talk about. So the last week, as I mentioned on the last podcast episode, I switched some of my sleeping hours around. So I got back to getting up at 4:50 every single day.
I don't remember Saturdays, talking about that.
We didn't talk about that? I started talking about last week about how I was going to do a hack. And you said, you don't need hacks, ignore hacks, screw hacks. And I was like, oh, okay. So I don't know if I finished the story or not. But I realized that many of the lessons, just if I went back and listened to our own podcast, many of the lessons that I've learned, I'm learning again and again and again. And it seems like it's endless. But getting up early is something that's important to me. And somewhere in April or May or something, I just stopped getting up regularly so early.
Okay.
I get up at like around 6:30 or 7. I'm getting up at 4:50. I've done it for, well, I guess a week now. Even Saturdays and Sundays, just get up at the same time every day. And so what it allows me to do now is I've just found something like 3.5 or 4 more hours of work, which is amazing. So I can blast through more work. And I found that because now that I'm getting up earlier, and two things, I'm getting up earlier and I pushed my eating time back to 9 p.m.
Okay.
So now I was eating in like a 2-3 hour period. Well, more like a 3-hour period, but now it's shrunk it down to like a 30-minute period. It's basically just one meal a day. Because I'm so tired that I go to bed at 10 o'clock because I get up at 4:50. So now there's no snacking. Now I'm eating less. I'm doing more. I have more time because in the evenings I'm preparing food for the family or whatever, but I'm not spending a lot of hours. I'm not getting lethargic at 6 o'clock because I was eating. So this one little shift, the shift of getting up at 4:50. So now I'm tired at 10 p.m. and moving back my meal. So I eat at 9, which means at 9:30, I'm really sleepy because I've just eaten for the day, which makes me go to bed amazingly. It means that I've unlocked like morning work hours. I've unlocked working, between 6:15, 6:30, the kids finish dinner to like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And so it's just like progress. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I say all that.
Are you sleeping less or you just were not productive at night?
No. So this is what kind of happened over like very slowly over 4 or 5 months. So because my gym was no longer running 5:30 classes, I didn't get up that early and I'm no longer commuting. So I found all these extra hours. So what's happening is my day was starting later. And then the kids are home all the time, right? I got 4 kids, they're home all the time. And so they need things to do. So I was kind of I was spending all evening with them every day, basically. I was spending all evening from, 5 o'clock, I'd start cooking dinner because I cook most of the time. Now Jack started cooking a lot more, but
you're just not hanging out with your kids as much. What is it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not hanging out with anyone. I'm just working a lot more. And
so you're sleeping the same amount.
Sleeping the same amount. I'm just
shifting family time at night to work time in the morning.
and work time at night, because now I have the energy and the focus as well. Right. So my day used to be that I would get up and check my emails and then do some family things. And then I would typically start a call at 7 or 7:30 with the team. And then, and we work out between 9 and 10 a.m. right now. And so by the time the day was starting, it was like 10:15. By the time I was like really digging into it. And then the kids finished school and all of this stuff. And so I would work till 5. And then I would try to catch up other times, but it just wasn't enough hours. Now I'm working at like 5:15. I get to work until they get up. The workout at 9 o'clock I do not feel guilty about working at 9 o'clock, because I've already been working for 4 hours by that point. So I feel great. And then because my diet is better, because being more in the keto zone, you have more energy, because I'm not getting lethargic after eating dinner at 6 p.m. So before at 7 o'clock, I used to be exhausted. Just, you eat that one meal and you're hanging out with your kids or whatever, you're tired. Now I don't eat. And so I have more energy. And
all right, he's doing it.
I don't know. I'm doing it. But here's the question that that all of that stuff was just something that I was actually going to tell you last week, that I was thinking about doing it, but you thought that hacks, you said you did not like hacks.
Okay.
So this to me feels like a big giant hack, which is basically just shifting all the hours over. Why did I say
I didn't like hacks?
I don't remember why. I guess maybe it was distracting you from the point.
Unbelievable. This guy doesn't pay attention.
You don't even remember any of this conversation.
It doesn't matter. I don't have to remember. You need to remember. This is your life.
I remember. So here is actually the question I wanted to ask you.
Jesus.
So things are getting crazy busy right now, which is great. It feels like we have momentum in the agency, which is great. It feels like we have momentum with the podcasts, which is awesome. So things are great. Now, maybe this is a bubble, but if this is a bubble, I want to get the most out of it that I can. And so the biggest thing that I've been thinking about is I feel like what's next for me as we make investments, as we grow the company, as I grow as an entrepreneur, the big hurdle that I think holds me back is I have always been an owner manager. I have always been a small business owner. I have always been someone who can build a team if the team can work with me. We've talked about this a lot, but I've never been able to figure out how to let go enough of things to be an actual CEO, or to be someone who is comfortable just making an investment decision or having other people do stuff. I'm just not comfortable giving up control of things, and that keeps me small. It keeps any entrepreneur who's not comfortable giving up things, keeps them small, because they become the bottleneck. They can't do other things.
What do you need to let go of?
Well, so I mean, on the action things, I have a plan for who I want to hire up in the order I want to hire it up in. But I noticed. Of course
you have a plan. Okay, keep going.
Of course I have a plan. I noticed, like even today, we have this very, very, very large project, a six-figure project that has to be completed in 7 weeks. It's very, very complicated. It's super, super cool. And I'm looking at all the work, and quite honestly, I could do this entire project myself. I don't have enough man hours. I don't have time in the day. Even if I worked around the clock for the next 7 weeks, I wouldn't get it done. And so obviously, there's a project. I need to have video editors edit. I need to have producers shoot. I need to have designers design and all these things. But I said to Louis this morning, there are things that I would normally do that we need to find someone to take care of. Because even if this project requires 4 days of someone focusing on it, I don't have 4 days to focus on it. And for me to have 4 days to focus on something will hurt too many other things. So even though I could do it, and even though I feel like I should do it, just realistically, we need to go find someone else to help this part of this project. And that to me, it may not seem groundbreaking. That to me is a big shift, because.
But you've already had a company with how many people? How big were you at your max?
22.
Okay. So you've already done it. What, you weren't doing all 22 of those jobs? I mean, you were at the beginning, but then you shifted and you hired people. They took over.
But here's the nuance or the subtlety is, I played coverage for everybody, and I think what's next for me is to become the type of leader who can set expectations clearly, who can brief people, who can support people, who can train people, who can teach them if they make a mistake, why it was a mistake or what to learn from it. That I don't do because I'm so busy covering everyone. I'm so, if someone is 80% at their role, but they don't have the other 30%, I jump in to help them with the 30%. And so, yes, we did have a big team. I have built a company, but the company was built off of me still contributing 10, 20, 30% to all of the different roles, because not all of the different roles, to a lot of parts of the company was still flowing through me. And so the mindset shift to me is, well, not who I am today, not where the company's going to be in 6 months, but where's the company going to be in a year or two? And how do I get there? And I know because I have been scarcity in the past, because I am cheap, because I make investment decisions that I'm comfortable investing, but it often doesn't pay off to my expectations, that I need to become the type of leader where I'm not playing coverage for people, where I'm not covering off 20% of all of their shortfalls, that I'm starting to grow myself into more of the only term I can think of is like a resource manager. Like the idea is that money is resource and people is resources and clients are resources. You have all these resources, but you have to just trust that the team is going to do what they need to do and that they're trained and they're doing it right, as opposed to me coming in there to try and save the day all the time. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah,
you're just overthinking all of this. Like none of that matters. Really. Like you're stuck in planning mode again.
I'm not stuck in planning mode, dude. I'm not working. I'm not working to do this. I'm realizing that, okay, as we make our next few hires, as we do our growth, as we invest in the thing.
So stop, you're fine. You're going to be fine. You'll figure it out. Like as you actually make those next few hires, then there'll be a new plan that's so revolutionary. And then another distinction that you're going to come up with that just go get your B2B clients. That's your next step.
Evan, I know that we're doing that. I'm not talking about that. I know that you want to keep bringing the conversation back to just do this. I am doing that. But do you want to have another conversation about something else?
If you want to turn up, we can go back and we can look at how long we've been having that conversation for, and how little action has actually happened on the things that you should be doing. And I don't want to have brain fart discussions around the theoretical future without seeing you actually make progress where you need to make progress.
Great. So at the end of last week, we decided we're going to hire a salesperson. I spoke with the controller. We've put the money aside. We've written the job description and we are hiring that person.
Great.
I'm taking action.
When did we talk about salesperson?
In August, you mentioned it.
Amazing. Great. What is it now? Almost February.
In August, I thought that the company was going bankrupt. So I wasn't going to make that decision.
Great. And I don't know how many times we've talked about it since and how many other reasons we can have for you not doing it, but it's been since August. What needs to happen now? Hire the salesperson. How can you be a resource for the salesperson? That's all that matters. Mm-hmm. That's all that matters.
But that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about from a leadership point of view is that I need to make sure that with a salesperson that I set them up for them to have ownership over their role, for them to make decisions, for them not to turn to me for everything, for me not to micromanage for them, for me not to control them.
So how do you have this one person win? How do you have the one person? How do you find the right person? And how do you have that person win?
I don't know.
But that
how do I find the person? That I can do. We've written the profile. Okay. We know specifically what we're doing. We're making sure that we market the opportunity to things they care about most. We're gonna crack the market. We're gonna get good people. We're gonna have good interviews because we always do. The question is, can we, when we onboard them, live up to the opportunity? Can we live up to the promises that we make? Can we be the type of company that can set them up for success? But even hiring this salesperson was a decision in me saying, okay, Mark isn't going to do this. The company requires it. It has to spend the money to do so. So I haven't made decisions like that in the past.
Great. So how are you going to make it work for the salesperson? Not what does Mark, the leader, need to be in 2 years, or the kind of company that we need to create. No, when I asked you, how are you going to make this work with this salesperson? The answer was, I don't know. And that's the problem.
I don't know because I don't know my role as versus me versus Louis or the people manager.
But that's where all of your energy needs to focus on that instead of in 2 years, the kind of leader that you want to be. Doesn't matter. You're gonna get more brain farts and think about all this other stuff you can do out there.
Evan, the reason it matters to me is because like I said, in August, you may have said, hey, Mark, you need to hire a salesperson. And then when we started working with Bo, and that experiment proved to me that, oh, okay, I can put money aside and find someone who's good, and I don't have to, they can run with it and they can do good things. And you said, leave him alone. Let Bo do what Bo does. That taught me something. That was in September. So, and then in October, I was working through some things. In November, we started to turn some stuff around. And the new systems we were implementing were working very well, but it was still early. I said I wanted 6 weeks in market to prove before we made any investment decisions. We met the first week in January to decide the order we're going to hire in. And then I was thinking about my role as a CEO. And so last week I decided we are going to hire this person. So to me, all of these steps are stacking, are stepping on top of one another. But if I wasn't thinking of Mark, the CEO, and Fanta 10 times larger, I don't know if I would make the investment in a salesperson. I would think it's still my responsibility. You would still keep bugging me. Months would go by, nothing would happen. So to me, this is a direct shift of me thinking of what is my responsibility to the company, what is my role in the company.
And what we're constantly trying to do is shift you to focus more specifically on the next right thing to do. You could have hired the person in September. You don't need to commit to having a year. You hire them for 3 months to see how they're doing. If it's not working out, you let go of them. Like you can easily minimize the downside of any hire.
Yes.
Everything else was justification for staying small, staying slow, staying lethargic, all of it. Like you could have hired the person in August. You don't have to you need to cut that whole process, that entire logic thread that made total sense to you has to be cut.
Except for, Evan, what's your one word?
Believe.
And I don't know if you remember the conversations we had July, August, September, October. I was questioning whether I should be in marketing. I was questioning whether I should be an entrepreneur. I was questioning whether I should run a company. I'm not going to go out and make investments when I doubt myself so much.
It's not that big an investment.
But I doubted my very future. And you helped me through that. And then before Christmas, things started to make a lot more sense to me. And you drove, we have a mastermind meeting once a month, and
it's a 2-person mastermind.
A 2-person mastermind meetings. Evan and I hanging out.
It's really just a dinner.
Evan and I have dinner every month.
No, it's really a mastermind, but whatever. Okay, yes, keep going.
I'm really, it may sound like excuse. It may sound like excuse to the entire audience. I'm just explaining why I wasn't going to make investment decisions when I didn't have belief in myself.
No, but
I have in the last month, I have belief. I have belief in myself. I have belief in the team. I know that our process works. We've found market fit. We're doing good things. So it's
all of that needs to be cut. All of that, like the logic thread that you need to get comfortable with something until it justifies in your head making the step, that all needs to be destroyed because it just slows you down way too much. Go back and listen to the 5 steps that had to happen before you could do this once. This is not a big thing. Hiring a salesperson for a 3-month trial is not a big deal.
I know.
So the 6 stacking steps that have to happen for you to get there needs to be destroyed. Like that entire logic train that you're building is the problem.
No.
Yes.
I don't.
And why I'm upset with the whole start of the premise is you're building a new logic thread to the middle of nowhere that's going to be cut off. Of where's Mark going to be in 2 years? Who cares? Doesn't matter.
No, it's not where am I going to be in 2 years. It's how do I move? I've seen this with other entrepreneurs. I've read this on Reddit. It's the classic challenge. How does an entrepreneur move from being the person who is the bottleneck?
That's not your problem. You don't know how to do the next step, which is who do you need to be for this salesperson coming in? Your answer was, I don't know. Exactly. Because you spend all your time thinking about future stacking blocks that lead to a bridge to nowhere. All that matters now, this is an important hire. Who are you going to be for this person that shows up to get them having success in their role so you can just close people? right? You're going to close them, right? I mean, this isn't a real salesperson. It's just a lead gen for you.
Lead gen. They're opening up conversations and taking care of everything else.
So all of that extra thinking, none of that stuff, Matt, that's what you gravitate to and love. And it's so amazing.
But that's like, I'm giving you in the shower stuff. Like if we want, we can go through the sales deck that I put together for the salesperson that we're hiring.
How are you going to work with it? What we should talk about is how are you going to work with the salesperson to give the highest chance of success from the person qualities they need to have, to the training you're going to have, to the open door or closed door policy, to how you're going to work on deals, how you're going to hand off from him to you, whatever, all of that stuff.
Did you just spend the last year and a half, every time I mention things like this, you telling me that this is on Louis to do?
What are you going to do? You have to work with this person.
Yes.
So yes, Louis, instead of getting defensive, Louis is going to have his role to finding people. Louis is going to have his role to whatever extent in the culture and the training of the person. But you have to work with this person. They're handing off from the client, from the lead to you. You have to work with them.
Yes.
What is your role going to be to set this person up for the most success possible in their 3-month trial? You don't know. That's what we have to solve.
Well, it's not that I don't know. I just haven't
thought about it. But that's the problem.
No, I have thought. I mean, I have thought about it. I know the targets that I want them to go after. I know the experience that I want them to have. We've written the job post already.
So none of that. How are you going to work with them?
How am I going to work with them?
Yeah. How are you going to work with them? Based off of how you've worked with people before and the day-to-day, are you going to check in with them every day? Like, what are you going to do? Who's the kind of person that you need? And then how are you going to work with them to start getting results in your business and inside of a 3-month trial?
Okay. So I haven't rented this out before, but the last time I brought on someone that needed help, every day I had a 4 p.m. standing call with them where we could talk about the day they have, the day that they're going to have, and then address any questions they might have about the business or anything that's come up. I'm going to set daily activity targets that I want them to do.
Does that work for you? Like this all work for you? Who is this person that we're talking about?
Aiden.
What did Aiden do? I don't remember.
Aiden was a producer with us. So he came in and he was able to jump on multiple projects. So video projects or campaign projects or other things.
He also like booking meetings and stuff? He booked meetings with us.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
He was.
And did you like working with Aiden?
I did actually. I did enjoy working with him. Yeah, it was, we really gave him a really good shot. It wasn't quite a good fit for a few reasons, but yeah. And I did this with Natalia as well when she came on board, our project manager. We had a time that we held every day. I think it was 15 minutes or something like that, where we could just check in. We did it for the first 4 weeks or something. And it just helped establish connection, get to know each other better.
Is this salesperson going to be part of your Navy SEALs team, or they're going to be part of the Phantom Machine?
No, they have to be a Navy SEAL.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, yes, they have to be a Navy SEAL. As long as I'm the person, their goal is just to book me calls.
Yeah,
that's it.
Who's the best person you've had under you? Because Fanta used to be run under you, and you basically hired a bunch of Navy SEALs people. But you know, culture and whatever, you know, it's just not the kind of thing that necessarily scales. But who has been, and it doesn't have to be their name, but you just picture somebody, the best person that you have worked in that mode of the Navy SEALs are working with you, they're learning from you, you're pushing them, they'll deal with all your stuff. As much as you say I'm a bad leader, it's only for you might be a bad leader for a big group of people, but if somebody's learning from you and being trained and mentoring. So,
well, I was saying to Jack, I'll answer your question in a second, I think, but I was saying to Jacqueline last night on our walk that I feel kind of bad actually, because now that I'm learning a lot more, I would say over the last 6 months, I'm learning a lot more of what's expected of a leader and what's required of a leader, which is why this is all top of mind for me. I realized I can be actually a really good leader. I had to get comfortable. So the reason this is a big deal for me is like I had to say to Louis maybe a month and a half ago, I had to say like, Louis, if I only do these 4 things, it doesn't feel like enough, but that's all a leader is supposed to do. Like all a leader is supposed to do is set a vision and a direction, make sure that a plan has milestones, stakeholders, dates, drives things forward, coaches the team, talks to people, like all of those things that I actually enjoy doing, but it doesn't feel it doesn't feel like enough. It doesn't feel like I'm driving enough value. It feels like I've always felt to me that if that's all I do, everyone on the team will look at me and go like, Mark's spending all his time talking, Mark.
But in a company of your size, that's not enough.
Right. But I have never been able to even picture myself not doing all of that stuff. I never imagined for myself in the future not even doing those things. This is why
you may not have to. Like you look at Steve Jobs. Where is he? How big was Apple? But when he was in on a project, he was running the project. Like he's the ultimate Navy SEALs guy. You keep up with me, and we go. Right.
So being more around you, learning more about leadership, I realized that I can be a good leader. I'm just going to be the type of leader that I am. And so I was saying to Jacqueline last night when we were going on our walk that I feel kind of bad for all the people that I kind of burned in the past, because in the next few years, I'm going to become a much better leader. And I'm going to have learned that by making mistakes with them. And then they're not going to get the benefit of being around me. So like, who is the best person to work with me? Ultimately it's people who can drive projects forward and get stuff done. Like who can take my rough plan or my I know that there's holes in the future. And if I were doing the project, I know I would figure out those holes as I came across them. So I'm comfortable leaving the holes. That type of person is best for me. So the person who can take ownership over the project and actually deliver and actually get stuff done and actually take action, where I'm giving them 80% of the details or 70%, and then they fill in the rest because they know what they're doing.
So give Louis examples that he knows, because obviously they worked at the company, of the people who were the best fits for that in their roles, not in sales. And say, I need this person, but for sales. Mm-hmm. And then go back and do what you were doing. Like you've already done it. You just haven't done it. I mean, you had a salesperson, but it's a slightly different job now.
Yeah. A little bit for sure. But we used to do this very process. Like I'm pulling the very same process off the shelf. I'm actually just taking more control over parts of it. So, so the way that the 2-person process will close, like the type of bookings I need, the type of people that I need to go after, all of that stuff, like I don't have any concerns with.
No, it's managing the relationship with the person. With this, it's you and the salesperson working together.
Yes, that I don't have a lot of confidence in how it will go.
And that's the only thing that matters. Like in this context, like that's what matters. But you have done it. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember I can picture your first sales guy. I don't remember.
Daniel.
Yeah. But I don't remember like the relationship or you talking about how good it was or bad it was or whatever.
It was good. It just came back to that coverage thing, right? Like
right. So
I spent years where if anyone asked me how things are going, it was great.
Okay, but you've had people who you didn't have to cover for who just did their job. No?
I don't know.
You never had a Navy SEALs team?
No, I did. I mean, there was a combination. There was probably a combination of 4 of us that could do almost anything. I don't have all those people anymore, but yeah.
Well, it's not just skill sets of like being able to do stuff. It's the personality trait as well as the ability to communicate with you, where they understand your style, they like it, they respect it, they like it. That's what they want, and they don't want Louis hugging them and all the other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I had that team, and I didn't enjoy going to work or working with them per se, though. So like, I don't know how to right size that.
Well, it's not right sizing it. It's just we had one person.
But you know what I mean? Like the Navy's the type of people who give me what I give them, I don't enjoy working with very much. The people that I really enjoy working with, I feel the need to cover a lot. So
this is the only clarity that you need. so that you can give it to Louis. Because now you're saying, Louis, go out and hire somebody, and there's no clear direction on who he's got to hire. You can say, these are the kinds of clients and this is how much revenue you got to bring in and all that. That's fine. But who's the person who can be the Navy SEALs and get the work done, but then you also don't hate your life working with?
Yeah. And Louis and I discussed the type of person that we want. And I have a picture of, I have a picture in my mind of how that person could be, but.
So there's nobody you run through Fanta who Louis would know personally, who
I know, I don't know if that, I don't know. I have to think about it. I don't even know if that's fair. Like, I don't know if it's fair after this many years and the number of staff we had and whatever too. So like, let's use a copywriter that you and I both know. So we had a copywriter on our team. She was on our team for about 6 months, did great work. So fit in with the team, did amazing work. But I really, really struggled to work with her because of all the little things that bothered me, right? Like, and so I don't know if today all those little things would still bother me, or if I've like...
Just assume they're going to bother you.
What's that?
Just assume they're going to bother you. We don't need a project. You're going to learn and grow and get better anyway. Don't take on a project. It's like, I'm going to marry this person and then change them, or I'm going to change myself to be good enough to be with this person or whatever.
I don't know. I don't know if I like working with anybody. I don't know. It's not true. I like working with lots of people, but.
Okay. But that's a starting point, right? It's like the whole point isn't to work with everybody. Mm-hmm. That's not the whole idea of the Navy SEALs idea. I like working with these kinds of people. I like people who, whatever, have this sense of humor, or who, anything, like whatever comes to mind of, these are the people that I like working with. That's who you need to go and task Louis to hire. Cause he's going to come back with a bunch of great this thing repeats over and over and over. He's going to go and thinks he knows what you want. You're going to give him criteria. He's going to go find the person that matches the criteria that also fits Louis's heart and the Fanta culture. You're going to work with them for 3 months, and there's going to be just, you don't like working with them. You don't want to train them. They're not bringing the right people. You don't know how to mentor them. You don't want to mentor them. Then Louis gets all frustrated. It's like, I got you everything that you wanted. Here he is. Now what am I supposed to do? And then you say, I guess it's not a salesperson for us. And you pause this for another 18 months. And then we come back to it. It's like, the problem is clarity for Louis to go out and find the person that you need to work with. He's not hiring a video editor that he has to monitor. And every now and then Mark's going to come in and say, oh, that's not good enough and whatever. Like, you have to work with this person intimately. Like, this is the person setting up all of if they drop the ball somewhere, or they don't set up like for someone like you who loves context, they have to give you all the context. Because if you walk into a client meeting, you don't want to be surprised. You want to know everything has been said. You need the brief. You need to have them write notes, like all the stuff that may be funny or whatever, but that bother you. Like, if somebody's in a meeting and they don't take notes,
I feel I do. Of course, but
but not of course. That doesn't bother everybody. I don't care
if you don't take notes during a meeting.
I don't care. Are they getting the stuff done? Like, did they get it done? That's all.
If you're working through a 1 hour, 90-minute, or a 2 hour meeting,
did they get it done? I mean, results speak. Did they get it done? I don't care if you're taking notes or not. Did you get it done? But the specific intricacies of working with you, so that you don't hate your life and they don't hate their life, and it's actually good. Like, hey, I love Mark because he's so direct and he's so blunt, and he doesn't hedge his opinions when he's talking to me, or he tells me exactly where I need to get better, and he pushes me. Oh, like, you want that kind of person, but that's not a normal person. That's a special kind of person. So we need to get the clarity for Louis so we can find you that special person, so that people can thrive in the role and build Fanta.
Right.
So you might have to make a Frankenstein where you're taking bits of people. Like, I love how detail oriented she was, and I love how hardworking he was, and I love how and it's the impossible assignment to give to Louis to go find the person who matches like as closely to that description as possible. But at least you're giving clarity for him to go off and find this person, instead of hiring a person who looks good on paper and then, as you say, always lets you down. and there's a disappointment 6 months later or whatever. So I mean, how about Bo? Do you like working with Bo? I don't know. Bo's listening. I like working with Bo, but
Bo's not listening. I don't know. You've told me to be hands off. So like every time I try to get a little too controlling, I remember your words. I remember your voice.
Okay,
there are a few things that I asked Bo to do, but I was even thinking about them the other day. I think the suggestions I'm giving him makes him better. You know, like for him, like I was laughing earlier when you said about notes. I like notes a certain way and this and that because I thought you were referencing this. I asked Bo to start giving me just a one-liner as to why he thinks the person would be good on my podcast.
Okay.
It's important to me, like as he's booking people, I want to know, he knows the people better than I do.
Okay. And what did he say?
Why did he think?
Yeah, I get it. What did he say?
No problem. He said, no problem. He started doing that for me. But,
okay.
but even that, like, you know, felt like, I don't know, I felt like a bit of an ask because maybe other people don't care. You know, they have someone in front of them, they're going to talk to that person. But for me, it's important knowing that he's booking some people on multiple podcasts.
Okay, so where do you fight with Bo?
I haven't fought with Bo on anything because I've let him just do his thing.
Oh, okay. So
that's what I'm saying. Like in September and August, there was this test that we ran, which is, hey, we can't hire someone who's good and then just let them run with it and figure it out.
Okay,
because
so
what his script would be, and
what's the problem in the relationship?
Tell me.
What's the problem in the relationship with something you wish would be better?
Well, because he is so hands-off, I have no way of knowing if he's struggling or not struggling, if he's doing well or not, if I can help him with any challenges or not, if there's anything that, you know, we have now once a month team meetings and it's great, but it's great. He's hands-off and things are great. But if they're not working, I don't know if they're not working. And if they stop working, I don't even know if I know how to address it with him because I've been so hands-off that I just say, hey, I'm not happy with this or that, or I'm worried about, I just don't know. I don't know what's happening. I don't think about it. It just happens.
Okay. So, I mean, it's great. You're getting results and hopefully you're enjoying the conversations and
no, it's great. Bo's amazing. I send him little ideas and he sends me ideas back. He said, I was just thinking of that. Or what about this strategy, that strategy? We talk. It's not that we don't talk. I just don't have any line of sight on volume, activities, yes versus no's.
Okay. So let's break that down.
Operational stuff. I feel like I would need that if I feel like I would need that if I have no way of noticing if he could do something better, if he could improve a process, if he could get better, if he came, he's not coming to me with challenges, but
because Bo is basically a salesperson for you. I'm just thinking this through.
Yeah, he's
lining people up for you to, right? I mean, he's your sales guy, but for your podcast.
You told me, direct quote, Mark, you need a Bo for sales. Just someone to start the conversations.
Okay, great.
That's what we're doing now. We're doing it.
Okay, but
we're doing it.
So break down. So why do you need, break this down. Why do you need line of sight? Like Bo's doing it. He's getting you guests. Could Bo do better? I mean, everybody could always do better.
I'm not managing Bo. So like maybe it's just in my weird brain or whatever, but
who's managing Bo?
I've asked Louis to have monthly meetings with him to support him and to check in. We have a monthly team meeting with everybody on the team together, and he gives a bit of an update. I give them weekly updates, but I'm not connecting with him to ask him about his process, to find out if operations can be better, to, like a question I like to ask people when I'm working with them is like, well, what's something that should be really easy, but it's really hard? Because if you can fix that, it's just a great thing. Like, I'm not helping. You told me to leave him alone. I'm leaving him alone. I'm leaving him alone.
No, I get it. But can that be, and should that be replicated?
But that's the Navy SEAL thing, right? Roland, I can leave Roland alone. He that guy can deliver projects. He can do good work, and doesn't want me to be involved because it kind of gets in the way. This team that I used to have, when I said we had 3 or 4 people where we could do almost anything, they were a team of people who I just left alone. But it didn't create, it didn't give them the support they needed. I wasn't the leader that they needed. Like anytime we would sit down to have a conversation, the only thing that we could talk about is really the upcoming projects or project work because I don't know, like I'm not in the trenches with them. I'm not monitoring what they're doing or how they're doing it or helping them with it. And so when I sit down and I say, what can we do to like, I have no line of sight over the details. So like, I'm not
you don't want to have to cover for them on things. So you don't need to know everything. Like, why do you need to know everything? If you got a salesperson coming in,
I'm saying, okay, so there's a difference in my mind between the vision and the plan and the strategy. That I know, that I'm good with, that I can lead.
We know you're good with it.
The operations and the system and how the company should work or the process should work. And then the actual work and outcome, the tasks you do every day, how you do it, what you're doing. The tasks and everything I've left alone. But on most of my teams, I know the vision and I know the system and how it should work. With Bo, I don't even know the system. I don't know the system.
Well,
you told me to leave it alone.
Yeah. Well, listen, but this is worth discussing because
okay.
I think we've talked about your systems and they're great for you and people who think like you, and often like they suck for other people. Like I think if you went in and forced your system on Bo, you'd get worse results. Now he'd start to be upset. You're like, I got to do stupid mark system. This is so stupid. Why do I have to fill out this form every time I'm trying to do this? Like it makes no sense. Like you think you're great at systems. You're not. You're great at systems for you and people like you. But there's a whole, I would think the majority of people would hate your systems. So that's part of Navy SEALs. Like you can pick it. They work fantastic for you. So keep them. But like you shouldn't be in charge of systems for the company, but systems for your people, maybe, but it's worth the discussion. Like Bo is off selling stuff for you. He's getting results for you. He's not being mentored by you and you're not talking about systems. If you brought your systems in, he would do worse. Do we need to have a salesperson who will adopt your systems? Or if they're like a Bo and they have their way of doing it and that he's getting results, does that matter to you?
No, that's what we want. We want a Bo.
Okay, so then checking in on all the details and line of sight on everything doesn't matter. How they do it doesn't matter.
Right.
As long as they do it. I mean, you have to deliver.
Right.
And it has to be a clean handoff for you so that you're not like stressed out every time.
Yeah, and they'll get feedback. Yeah, and they'll get feedback back if if quality of lead wasn't great, if the target's not great, or like we're still there's going to be there'll be feedback on stuff.
Okay, so you don't need to have line of sight on everything. They just have to deliver. That's a shift.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I was trying to tell you, why I'm comfortable.
No. That's not the shift. The shift happened in this conversation.
How is this a shift?
Because you need to have you don't want to have the person that you have direct line of sight over. That's how you started this whole thing. I need to have direct line of sight. I need to know what they're doing. I need to know their systems. I want to be
the very thing that I said I'm trying to do is become a CEO, and a CEO has to let go of things. So me hiring a salesperson without micromanaging them or building the system for them and expecting results is a CEO mindset in my mind. It is the very thing that I wanted to talk about to begin with, that I'm not sure how to do this. I'm not sure how to make that move. I'm not sure if I could trust people. I'm not sure if I'm not going to be controlling. This is all the same conversation in my mind.
Yeah, that all that future stuff still doesn't matter. You need to tell Louis to hire you a Bo.
That's the conversation we've had.
No, but he needs super clarity on that. Because he doesn't want to, he feels when he comes in, he checked the boxes for what you wanted, and then it's still not the person that you wanted because it was lack of clarity in what the boxes actually were. Mm-hmm. So you need to be super clear and say, I want someone who I don't need direct line of sight. I'm not going to check in on them and try to fix their process. Mm-hmm. And then you can't come back and say, well, this guy's process sucks. It's only his results suck. He needs a super clear checklist. So if it's Bo, great. What are the 8 pieces that make up Bo so that Louis can go and get you that person? I think he can get that person. I think it's that's just always been the struggle. The lack of clarity on the soft stuff. I would agree. Easy, yeah. That's how
I've never like, I'm how old am I? I'm 37. So I'm like
getting old.
I was gonna say I'm like 18 years into my career, and I've never worked this way before. So this to me is a shift.
But do you want to work that way? Like, do you want to have, because you enjoy mentoring? if you're not directly involved in the project, you could be a great mentor. Mm-hmm. If you're directly involved in the project and you start seeing all the holes and how they're doing it and start getting into process and stuff, that's when you become a crappy mentor. So that's the thing of like, if Louis was managing somebody, if you were doing what I was doing, you'd be great at it.
Oh, just coming in and talking?
No, like on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday morning, I have coffee with somebody new on my team and we rotate people through. And we've been hiring so fast. The last 5 ones I've done are brand new hires over the past 5 weeks, 5 different people who I don't even know what they're doing coming in, right? I talked to Nina because Nina hired them. I didn't hire them. Nina hired them, and either she's training them or someone else, Ivan's training them, or somebody else on my team is training them. And I have to look at it, 10 minutes before. Who am I talking to? Rachel. Okay, who's Rachel? What does she do for us? And I look at the storyline, and then I come in and basically it's like, what's your story? How many hours are you working for us? Do you like it? What did you go to school for? What do you want to, just pulling out their story, and then helping them, right? And then they message back is like, that was the most life-changing conversation. Okay, great. But I'm not directly responsible for anything that they're delivering.
Yes.
So we're not talking about, hey, did you get that thumbnail done for this project? Because we're way behind on getting these.
Right.
So that you could be great at.
Yes. I think I am actually good at that.
I think so too, actually. I think mentoring should be part of what you're doing, as long as you're not directly related to the project. Because if you've got the person in front of you who is in the meetings with you and you see they're not taking notes, and then they come and you're having this mentorship, you wouldn't be able to have a mentorship conversation because in your head, you're still so pissed that they don't take notes. And of course, this is the reason why they're failing. Like you'll just get too caught up in it. You can't mentor the person that you're managing.
Right. So last Friday, I'm trying to think what I did. I had a one-on-one with someone from like 11 that kind of got extended to like 1. And then Louis needed me. So I jumped on a call for that. And then I jumped on a call with Alex, and then I jumped on another call. And then I hosted a podcast episode, had an amazing podcast recording, and something else came up. And then by the end of the day, I was like, I just pulled an Evan. Like I had like 6 hours of just back to back calls. And it was great. I was like, if this is what I do and how I drive value, and I really enjoy that. I feel like we've gotten off topic though. What was the last decision point? We need to find a bow. I need to communicate it clearly to Louis.
But do you want to train? Do you want to mentor that person? Because you're not mentoring Bo.
I'm not mentoring anyone right now.
Well, sure. Okay. But that's something that,
I mean, Louis and I have like 4 conversations per week, and we dig into way more than just business stuff for sure. But, I have monthly check-ins with people, and I, talk to Alex, not even project related stuff, but I talk to Alex a few times a week and whatnot, but it's not, I just in the past, I found that I like, it's the lack of consistency, right? I'm good at doing things, but I tend not to do things for long. So, do I want to mentor them? Sure, if I can. I mean, are we talking about skill development? Or are we talking about like mentorship, like how to be a better human being?
Could be both. I think you're better at the human being stuff than, I think it takes a special person to learn skill acquisition from you. I think that's a little more, it's hard because one, you have your process that people may not want to follow, and you've got high expectations that you're going to teach it and they're going to get it.
Right.
And they may not. But
you should see the pressure our kids are under here, because Jacqueline's the same way. It's like, we've already told you this twice. Why do we have to?
So you have very little patience in that kind of in skilled teaching, which takes a special kind of person to then be super attentive to everything you're saying and take notes and record every conversation and go back and listen to it 5 times to catch the thing before they even come to you with a question. Like,
so can I tell you, I was talking to my team today and I asked a question that made total sense to me. And I asked the question 4 times, 4 different ways. And no one understood what I was asking.
But it's not surprising. The things that make sense to you don't make sense to most of the world. Like, it's just part of your process. That's why you think your process is so great, and it actually sucks for most people. And you don't want to explain it to people. You don't want to walk them through it. You have no patience. You have very little patience for teaching a skill set.
This was something else that I realized that I need to
but hold on.
I have very little patience in general, which is why it leads to anxiety.
No, that's not true. If you're talking about being a good human, you have almost infinite patience. If somebody who was not working for you on a project came to you and started talking to you about their life problems, you'll listen to them. You'll understand them. You'll tell them about your story and what you went through. Like, you have not infinite patience, but a heck of a lot more patience.
Sure.
For them. Then that's why it's like, if you have direct line of sight and you're teaching them something, you need somebody who can handle the short bursts and they have to get it. And so take notes and record the screen, and don't come back to me unless, listen, they said, Mark, I recorded our conversation. I listened back 20 times and I still can't get it. You'll at least respect the effort, but still, you need someone who can keep up with what you're teaching, or this is just not going to work well with you. But on the other side, with humans, you'll be great. I think you'll be great. I've seen it. I've seen you have a lot more patience and a lot more connection. You just can't be managing them.
Can I ask you something? This is something that's confounded me, actually. I've noticed, and I was talking to Louis actually about this. I noticed that there are certain people who feel like they need to be taught something. And then there's another group of people who go out and learn things. And I've had this conversation, and it has nothing to do with how much you hustle or how smart you are or anything. It's just I've run into people who go like, but you never taught me that. And I was like, it's not my responsibility to teach you that. Like, if you ask me, I'll look into it. Or like, if you bring it to me, I'll do it. If you go through training, that's fine. But no one is going to come along and sit you down and teach you these things. Like, go out and learn them. Can I ask you, is this a real thing? I know I'm changing the subject a little bit, but it actually plays into my own management style, where it's just like, if I need to go learn something, I go and learn it. And if I need to ask you a question, I'm going to ask you a question. And if I want you to teach it to me, I'm going to ask you to teach it to me. But I'm not going to just sit around and get upset, that you never came along and taught me everything.
And we've got 2 minutes left, so that's a great topic to close off with. But this is where you have to decide: do you want to have that person working for you or not? Because you have to be. If they're just complaining, saying you never taught me, okay, great. I mean, they're not delivering the results. But there will be people who deliver results who then don't think to ask their questions, or don't ask for mentorship or your input on something because they're too afraid to, or they just didn't think about it because they're used to always just doing everything themselves, right? Even think back to your mom, which is like, I'll do it myself, but may not think to ask for help for the neighbor to come over and teach her how to repair the sink.
Right.
I'll just do it.
I got that book. So that book that I always reference, the plumbing book, I made sure to get it from my mom, and it's sitting back there.
Well, but that's it. Like, your mom is a great example of someone who will just show up, not complain, do the work. We'll figure it out. But you could have figured it out 6 times faster if you just asked somebody for help too. So that's management. There's different people. They have their own styles, their strengths and weaknesses. Your mom can get the results, but it'll be slower than if we actually reached out and asked somebody for help too. Doesn't mean that any problem, you just get somebody else to do it. That's the complete opposite. It's just, okay, I don't know how to do this. I'm helpless. So you come do it for me. Change my light. I don't know how to do that.
See, you asked though, right? Like, you asked, you didn't mention that you had to change a light and this and that, and then later get mad at me for not stepping up and teaching you to change it, right? You asked me to change a light, and then you went and figured out how to change a light yourself. You got the job done. So
everybody will have their own strengths and weaknesses. and the challenge of working directly with you is you will just get upset at people who don't fit a certain criteria. And that's what you need to give Louis, that certain criteria of who you want to work with, so he can go find you that person on the Navy SEALs team. But then when you're dealing with people outside of work, it just opens up and you can deal with anybody and people love you. And I think you can bring that to the team as long as you don't have responsibility for their projects. You just can't get over it. You just have this, you can't separate it.
Right.
You'll just think you're not taking notes. This is why your whole life is falling apart. Like you're like, you just won't be able to have a conversation about their mom.
No, it's not the case. It's like,
no, it is the
case. Well, no wonder you made all of these mistakes, because you didn't take any notes, and there's no way to remember all of these nuanced points. Like, go reference your notes. Oh, you don't have any notes? How are you expecting?
I get it, but that's that's what's going. If that person comes to you and then says in your mentoring meetings, I don't know, I don't feel like I'm as productive as I should be. I feel like I'm not being challenged enough. I'm trying to work out what I can do to. In your head, you're thinking
you're
like,
just setting me off now, aren't you?
No, but you'd be like, in your head, you're already like smoke is already coming out of your ears. Just like whatever problem she's going to come up with and say, you're already judging it in the context of, this is your big problem right here. So you're not ready to help them grow as a person because of that judgment of working with them. So that's the narrow band. But if you're going to say, okay, I actually don't even care about line of sight. I don't even care about the process. My process is kick ass for me. And so I'll run my process and other people will run their own. And I'm not going to even try to come in and tweak it or change it as long as they're getting me results.
That's what I would like it to be.
Well, that's that can be, you just need that person. We don't remember what happened last week, but it was great. The link is right there. Go check it out. Continue to believe. We'll see you over there. Hi there, I'm Evan.
And I'm Mark. On this week's episode, Evan drops a lot of this is what you need to do if you want to get more stuff done.
It's intense and it's focused and you need to listen.